Hey guys, tonight we begin our story deep in a time you won't easily survive. The year is 1573. The land is feudal Japan. The air smells like burning wood and damp straw. You're lying in a rice field, your clothes soaked from morning dew, with not a single familiar sound or comfort around you. Far ahead, a tiny village stirs wooden huts huddled beneath gray clouds. Smoke curls from thatched rooftops. A rooster shrieks. Someone coughs. You blink slowly, realizing you don't understand the language, the customs, or the rules. And trust me, you probably won't survive this. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. I'd love to hear where you're listening from. Drop your location and local time down in the comments. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Your eyes squint against the sun as it pushes upward through a murky sky. You sit up slowly. The damp earth clings to your clothes, and the air hums with insects. You try to stand, but realize your shoes are gone. You're barefoot in foreign soil surrounded by narrow footpaths winding through small irrigation channels. The horizon is lined with rice paddies and tall, wind-blown grasses. You step forward. Every surface is uneven. Each foot sinks slightly into the soft dirt, cold and thick between your toes. It smells like wet compost, sweet, sour, and heavy. There's no sound of motors or phones, just frogs, crickets, and the creak of wooden cartwheels in the distance. Ahead, the village looks no larger than a supermarket parking lot. The homes are short and square with bamboo siding and straw rooftops. Smoke seeps from roof holes meant to vent cooking fires. A woman in a dark blue robe bends near a cooking pit. She doesn't see you. She tosses chopped radishes into a pot, then adjusts a worn cloth on her head. You hear children chattering softly. Their words are sharp and rhythmic Japanese, but too fast to understand. You start walking, unsure what to do with your hands. The villagers notice. They stop what they're doing. A man carrying a yoke with water buckets slows and narrows his eyes. A pair of girls scurry behind a stall. The woman stirring her pot calls out in a tone that isn't quite angry, but it isn't friendly either. You raise a hand, wave gently. No one waves back. One elderly man approaches. He wears a frayed kimono and carries a short sickle. His beard is patchy. His feet are caked in dirt. He eyes your clothing, your face, your lack of shoes. He says something, one sentence, pointed and clipped. You blink open your mouth to respond, but the wrong words fall out. English. He frowns, tilts his head, repeats the sentence slower. You catch one word, doko, which might mean where. You shrug. He mutters something else, then walks away. You try to follow the path into the heart of the village. The road is only 6 feet wide, packed with dried mud and lined with flat stones. Every building sits low to the ground. Bamboo slats, sliding doors, rice paper windows. You hear the rhythmic tap of a wooden pestle pounding grain. Somewhere behind you, a chicken squawks. The scent of fish sauce hangs in the air. You pass a well. A girl, maybe 7 or 8, pumps water into a basin. She stops when she sees you. She doesn't smile. She doesn't look away. You nod. Still no smile. You notice now how everyone's dressed in similar colors: gray-brown, faded blue, natural fabrics, nothing shiny. Your modern t-shirt, even if dingy, makes you stick out. You reach down, try to rub off some dirt. It doesn't help. A group of older boys walk past, carrying bundles of firewood. One glances at you and mutters something under his breath. You catch the word gaijin. It means outsider. They don't stop. You turn toward the largest structure, a long hall with a tiled roof and a faded red banner. It might be a meeting house or storage shed. You move toward it slowly, passing through an open space where several families kneel beside short tables. They don't invite you. No one offers food. A toddler stares openly while chewing a roasted sweet potato. His mother gently covers his eyes. It becomes clear you don't belong. You don't know how to ask where you are. You don't even know how to apologize. You try a polite bow. No one bows back. You hold your hands at your side. Someone snickers. You clasp them in front. More confusion. Then a bell rings from the far end of the village. A low, hollow clang. Everyone turns. A messenger in brown robes strides into the clearing. He carries a wooden scroll case and speaks loudly. His words bounce off the huts. The villagers listen quietly, then go back to work. You're the only one left staring. A thin man in his 40s walks up next. He's dressed better: black robe, white sash, clean sandals. He smells faintly of incense, possibly a priest or steward. He doesn't smile, but he doesn't frown either. He says something. Then again. Still no understanding. He studies you a moment, then gestures slowly, points to the ground, then makes a walking motion with 2 fingers across his palm. He points to the field you came from, then taps his own chest, says a name, Saito. You nod, say your name. Slowly. Saito, he repeats. Then gestures you follow. You obey. He walks carefully, never looking back. You notice his calm, deliberate steps. His pace commands respect. You try to match it. The path leads past animal pens, goats, chickens, 1 pig. Their smell hits hard in the humid air. Saito doesn't flinch. He leads you to a low bench beneath a tree. He sits. You wait. Then he does something strange. He claps twice. A signal. Within seconds, 2 boys arrive, maybe 15. One carries a straw hat. The other holds a small bundle of clothes. Saito points to you, then to the bundle. A clear instruction. You're being dressed. They unwrap a worn robe, dark gray hemp coarse. The sleeves are short. The belt is just a cord. You take off your shirt awkwardly. A few passers-by giggle. You slip into the robe. It itches. It smells like old leaves. Saito nods, approvingly, then gestures toward the village edge. You're expected to leave. You bow again. He holds your gaze, then finally returns a short bow. You walk the narrow trail back toward the field. The robe hangs stiffly on your frame. The sandals are loose. Your steps are loud. Back among the rice stalks, a woman gestures toward a row of shallow furrows. She hands you a hoe. You bend. Begin to copy the rhythm of her strokes. The blade hits a stone. Your arms shake. She glances over but doesn't help. You keep digging. Above you, a hawk circles lazily. The sun rises higher. You have officially arrived. Your hands blister within the hour. The hoe's handle is worn smooth, but your palms are not. You haven't gripped raw wood this long before. Each time you thrust the blade into the soil, the shock runs through your wrists and up your forearms. The motion seems simple at first raise, swing, strike, lift, but your arms tire quickly. Your robe sticks to your back. Sweat pools beneath the sash. The woman next to you moves with mechanical rhythm. She doesn't look up. Every stroke she takes breaks ground with clean, practiced accuracy. Her straw hat shades her eyes. You can't tell if she notices your struggle or if she's just decided not to care. The sun climbs. By mid-morning, your shoulders burn. The field is narrow, bordered by shallow water channels. Your toes are soaked, your ankles caked in thick, dark mud. You try to step carefully, but the earth sucks at your sandals. One slips off. You wobble. Regain your balance. Keep going. Behind you, a boy no older than 12 carries a basket filled with seedlings. He places them at measured intervals in the furrows you've carved. His hands are stained brown to the wrist. His feet are bare. He works quickly, silently. Occasionally he mutters something under his breath. You can't tell if he's scolding you or counting. The village bell rings again, twice. Work stops. You straighten up, spine-cracking arms, shaking. The woman beside you wipes her hands on a cloth. She doesn't speak, just gestures toward a tree stump nearby. Shade. You stagger toward it and sit. The air buzzes with insects. A crow cries from a distant tree. You breathe deep. The taste of sweat and dirt is thick in your mouth. Your fingers are numb. The boy hands you a wooden cup filled with tepid water. You nod in thanks. He walks away. You look around. Everyone has found a spot to rest. Some sit in clusters, others alone. One man sharpens a blade. Another repairs a broken basket. No one talks loudly. No one laughs. They all seem to know what comes next. After 15 minutes, the woman stands. She lifts the hoe again. You follow her lead. The second round of labor feels worse. Your muscles are already spent. The sun is higher now. No breeze. Just stagnant heat pressing down on your neck. You squint up. The sky is pale empty. You press on. At one point, your tool snags on a root. You jerk it free and nearly fall backward. You let out a sound. Not quite a yell, but louder than expected. The woman glances over. Her eyes narrow. You nod. Pretend nothing happened. Another hour passes. Then another. The tasks shift. A man calls you over with a wave. He points to a wooden wheelbarrow filled with dung. You understand the motion pushed this to the far field. He gestures again, 2 fingers, 2 trips. You nod. The barrow is heavier than it looks. The wheels squeak and wobble. The handles dig into your palms. You try not to breathe deeply. The smell is overpowering. By the time you finish, your arms are trembling. You collapse near the edge of a pond. Frogs leap into the water at your arrival. You don't care. You lean forward and splash your face. The water is cool, slimy. A few green reeds float near the surface. Something moves beneath a fish, maybe. You don't look closely. Then a voice, sharp, male. You look up. A man stands nearby, arms crossed. He points back to the field, says something curt. Break time's over. You nod. Rise slowly, return. The next task involves lifting bundles of straw and stacking them beside a drying rack. The bundles are light but awkward. Your fingers cramp. You drop one. The man sighs. You're trying. You really are. At last, another bell. 3 chimes. Lunch. A group heads toward a wooden structure with open walls, low benches, a pot steaming in the center. You follow at a respectful distance. No one waves you away, but no one waves you in either. You sit at the edge. A woman places a bowl in front of you. Rice, scattered vegetables, no meat, no salt. You eat quietly. The others talk in low voices. You catch familiar rhythms, now honorifics, questions, laughter. Still, no words you understand. One man eyes your bowl, then gestures to his mouth, mimicking chewing, then points to your belt. You don't understand. He tries again, slower. Eventually you realize he thinks you're eating too fast. You slow down. The rice is dry. The vegetables taste like boiled leaves. But you eat every grain. You are undeniably hungry. After the meal, most villagers nap or sit in silence. A few check their tools. One sharpens a hoe with a flat stone. Another braids twine from plant fibers. You try to rest. The bench is hard. Your robe itches. Flies land on your arms. You swat them half-heartedly. The air grows hotter. When the bell rings again 4 times, you feel dread. Work resumes. This time you're assigned to the water channels. With a long-handled scoop, you transfer muddy water from one furrow to another. The task requires balance, rhythm, and patience. You have none of the 3. Twice you spill water on yourself. Once you slip and land hard on your side. A child giggles. You glare. She runs off. You keep going. In the distance, thunder rumbles. The sky begins to dim. A breeze stirs. Leaves rustle. No one stops. Only when the first raindrops fall do the villagers react. Quickly, efficiently, they cover baskets, tools, and drying racks with straw mats. You help or try to. You lift a mat the wrong way. Water pools instead of draining. A woman shouts. You back away. Finally, someone gestures for you to follow them back to the village. You obey. Back in the clearing, the rain comes harder. Thunder cracks. People duck into doorways and under awnings. You stand in the open, soaked. An old man sees you and lifts a corner of cloth. You step under. He says nothing, just stares at the sky. The rain hammers down. The smell of earth smoke and straw intensifies. You are cold, tired, sore, but you've survived your first full day. Sort of. The morning mist clings low across the fields. Your robe, still damp from yesterday's rain, sticks to your skin like wet paper. You slept on a woven mat, inside a grain-shed stomach, growling knees curled against your chest. Every joint aches. Your mouth tastes like old wood and ash. Somewhere nearby, a rooster crows. A second later, another responds. You sit up slowly, rubbing your neck. Then you remember. You can't speak the language. You haven't said a complete sentence to anyone since arriving. Only nods, hand signals, confused smiles. You don't know the word for water, or help, or even yes in a way that sounds right to them. A boy approaches, 8 or 9 hair tied with a string. He offers you a bundle of rags and gestures toward a trough of water. Bath time or laundry? You have no idea. You point to yourself and raise your eyebrows. He nods, serious. So, bath time. You strip behind a partition of old mats. The air is chilly. You dip the cloth in the water and scrub your arms. The water is clean but smells faintly metallic. The rag is rough. You wince as it rubs across your blisters. You finish quickly, unsure what counts as clean here. The boy waits patiently. When you emerge, he snorts softly, then leads you toward the heart of the village. A cluster of men sit in a circle. They pass a gourd and speak in measured tones. One gestures toward the rising sun, another toward the fields. The boy pushes you gently forward. You hesitate, then bow. One of the men stands. He steps closer, examining you like a merchant inspecting grain. He says something. You blink. He repeats it, then points at you, slowly enunciating each syllable. It might be a name. You try to repeat it. He frowns, corrects you. You try again. Still wrong. He gives up and claps twice. Another man emerges, this one younger. He carries a short stick and a small board with characters painted on it. You realize what's about to happen. Language class. The younger man squats and taps the board. He says a word. You stare at the symbol. He taps again, slower. You repeat it. He nods. This goes on for a while. You learn Mizu means water. Hai means fire. E means house. But when he asks you to say something more complex, like, I am tired, you stumble completely. The word order is reversed. The verbs shift shape. Your head spins. They all laugh softly, not cruelly, just knowingly. Language is hard. Eventually, you're sent back to work. But now, with each gesture, someone makes you try to pair it with a word. Mizu as they fill jugs. Ie when someone points to a hut. Kaze when the wind picks up. You nod slowly to yourself. Progress. Small, but real. Later at lunch, someone hands you a cup. You remember to say arigato. They raise an eyebrow but don't correct you. You say it again. They nod. Then they rattle off a whole sentence. You freeze. They wait. You bow your head ashamed. They laugh again, this time louder. The moment passes. One boy taps your shoulder and mimes something, arms stretched wide, palms flat, then a swing of the hand. You realize he's acting out your earlier tumble in the field. You chuckle. He smiles. A breakthrough. You notice then how much of the communication here relies on subtle cues. A single eyebrow raise means no. A double nod means yes. A loud breath through the nose might mean annoyance or tiredness. It's a language of micro-expressions. Later in the day, you wander near the edge of the forest. A girl sits beside a tree whispering to herself. She wears a pale sash and carves something into a piece of bark. When she sees you, she doesn't flinch. She holds up the carving. It's a symbol, likely a word. She says it slowly. You repeat. She tilts her head. says it again. You try again. She shrugs. Not bad. You sit down across from her, careful not to touch anything. For 20 minutes, she teaches you 6 symbols. She draws them with a stick in the dirt. You copy. She corrects. You erase. Try again. A shared silence forms between you. Then someone calls out from the village. She stands, bows, leaves. You sit alone staring at the symbols in the dirt until the rain washes them away. That night you lie awake listening to the frogs. You mouth each word you've learned. Mitsu, hi, ie, kaze, arigato. One day down, a few more words in your pocket. Still mute, still clueless. But maybe, just maybe, you're starting to be understood. You wake before the rooster this time. The cold has settled into your bones. You stretch under the thin mat joints, stiff breath clouding in the air. Someone has left a folded cloth near your feet, maybe a blanket, maybe just a rag. Either way, it's appreciated. You drape it over your shoulders and step outside. The village is still quiet. A light wind rustles the eaves. Thin trails of smoke rise from a few huts. The sky is pale blue, and the sun has barely crested the horizon. Today you try something different. You bow to the first person you see. A man in his 60s carrying a bucket of kindling pauses. He nods sharply once and keeps walking. It worked. You bow again to a passing woman balancing a woven basket on her hip. She looks mildly surprised but returns a nod. You sense a pattern. Every interaction here begins with ritual. A bow, a pause, a careful tone. This is not a world of quick greetings and casual talk. The structure matters more than the content. At breakfast, a bowl of rice with pickled root, you sit with the group silent. You place your hands together as you saw others do yesterday. Itadakimasu, someone says. You repeat it softly. No one corrects you. When you stand, you bow again. Again, they nod back. It's progress. Tiny, stiff-necked progress. Later, you help carry a bundle of tools to the communal storage shed. A teenage boy hands you a hoe and says something. You catch the word, Tanbo rice field. You nod. Follow. On the way, you pass a man in lacquered sandals and a polished sword. He isn't from the village. His robe is finer layered dark blue with white trim. He walks alone, but no one ignores him. Everyone bows low. Everyone steps aside. You forget to bow. He stops. He turns. You freeze. He doesn't say a word, just looks at you. Then slowly, he places his hand on the hilt of his sword. You bow fast, deep, trembling. You hold it. You stay bowed. A beat passes. Another. Then the hand lifts from the sword. His feet begin moving again. He walks past you without a word. You don't breathe until he's gone. The boy beside you exhales sharply. Then he swats the back of your head. Not hard. Just enough to say, "What were you thinking? Lesson learned." Later that morning you ask a woman about her woven sandals. She doesn't understand at first. So you point, then mimic weaving with your fingers. She raises an eyebrow, hands you a bundle of rice straw. Then she makes a motion sit. You do. She shows you slowly. You follow her fingers, trying to mirror her movements. Your knots are clumsy. The straw slips. Your tension is uneven. But she doesn't take the straw away. She lets you try again. When your fifth attempt results in something vaguely shoe-shaped, she pats your shoulder. A child walks past, sees your creation, laughs. You laugh too. That evening, a small gathering forms outside the temple. Men and women line up to offer something: coins, food, small bundles of herbs. They bow, clap twice, bow again. You wait and watch. The temple itself is simple stone base, wooden frame, sliding doors. A thick rope hangs beside the offering box. Behind it, a carving of a fox, another of a horse. A monk in orange robes lights incense. His head is shaved. His eyes linger on you longer than most. Not with anger, more curiosity. You bow. He doesn't bow back. You clap twice, unsure what else to do. He gestures you forward. You step closer. He speaks slowly, carefully, points to the rope. You pull it. A bell rings. The villagers don't look surprised. He holds out a flat stone and a brush, dips it in ink. He writes a character. You recognize it, one of the ones the girl taught you. It means spirit or kami. You nod. He writes another. Respect. You bow. He taps the paper, then taps his heart. You think you understand. This place runs on unspoken rules, rituals, expectations. The wrong word or action doesn't just cause offense, it disrupts the balance. The order. That night before sleeping, you practice your bows. There are 3 kinds: a shallow nod for equals, a deeper bend for elders, a full waist bow head down for samurai. You practice until your back cramps. Then you sleep and dream of clapping twice, bowing once, and saying nothing at all. The village steward arrives at dawn. You hear the commotion first. A loud bell, sharp voices, the sound of wooden sandals striking packed dirt. You step outside, still yawning, to find half the village gathered in the clearing. Men kneel in rows. Women stand behind them holding baskets. Children hover in the shadows, silent for once. At the center stands a tall man in a crimson robe. His hat is square, his belt stiff, and his expression unreadable. His hands are clasped behind his back. He says nothing. A boy unrolls a scroll beside him. It's the tax collection day. You don't need translation. The baskets of rice lined up at his feet speak plainly. One by one, families present their offerings. Carefully measured bundles of unhusked grain. Small sacks sealed with twine. The steward's assistant examines each one, nods or frowns, then jots something down on a wooden slate. You stand off to the side, unsure what to do. You have nothing to offer. No land. No harvest. A man whispers behind you, koku. You've heard the word before. It's a measurement. 1 koku equals enough rice to feed a person for a year. That's the basis of everything here. Wealth, tax power. The steward turns toward you. He points. You freeze. Someone steps forward and murmurs into his ear. The steward's eyebrows raise slightly. He glances back at you, then snorts. His assistant scribbles something. Probably gaijin or worthless. They move on. You're dismissed. Still, the message is clear. If you were a real villager, you would be expected to contribute. Every household pays a share. Rice is life, and life is not free. The rest of the morning is quiet. The tension from the steward's visit lingers. No one jokes. No one chats. Everyone works faster. You're sent to the storehouse. A man shows you how to sweep, then stack woven baskets in tidy rows. He doesn't speak much, but he doesn't need to. His hand gestures say enough. At one point you knock over a bundle. The rice spills slightly. He frowns, kneels, scoops it up carefully. Not a grain wasted. Later, while resting in the shade, you ask a young girl by pointing and miming how much rice is in one basket. She draws a circle with her hands, then places one finger on her chest. One person, 1 year. You nod. A koku. She frowns, then says something with a questioning tone. You shrug. She repeats it slower, then mimes eating, sleeping, and working in the field. You understand she's asking how much you would be taxed if you were real. You hold up your hands. Empty. She laughs, not kindly. After the midday meal, you help carry baskets from the drying yard to the temple. A monk receives them, stacking each bundle in a side chamber. A tithe, you suspect. The gods, too, expect their portion. Inside the temple, it's cool. The scent of incense hangs in the air. Paper lanterns sway gently. A carved fox statue watches from a corner, its eyes narrowed in judgment. The monk hands you a broom. You sweep. A boy nearby rings a bell. Another recites something from memory. The rhythm is calming. Even the dust seems to move more slowly in here. You bow before leaving. In the afternoon, a man pulls you aside. He carries a flat board and a charcoal stick. He draws a square, then divides it into sections. Rice fields. He points to each one, names them, family by family. Then he draws a small circle outside the grid, points to it, then to you. That's your status. No land, no tax, no place. But he doesn't seem angry, just informative, like a map maker pointing out a blank space. You nod. He shrugs. At least it's honest. That evening, the elders gather near a fire. They speak softly. You recognize words now, Koku Tanbo Mura village. Then a new word, Ronin. A chill runs through the group. You lean closer. Ronin means masterless samurai. Dangerous men, often disgraced. Unpredictable. Sometimes violent. One elder spits on the ground after saying the word. You sit quietly. You don't have rice. You don't have land. You don't even have a name that sticks. But at least you're not a Ronin. Not yet. You follow a crowd toward the edge of the village. The path narrows into tall grass. A wooden signpost points toward steam. You hear splashing and the low murmur of voices. The air smells of sulfur and wet stone. It's the bathhouse. You hesitate at the doorway. The structure is low, made of timber and thatch with thick wooden planks forming walls that stop short of the ceiling. Steam rolls lazily through slatted vents. Inside, everything echoes water, dripping bodies, shifting the scrape of hands against wood. A man gestures to a small pile of folded cloth. He points, then makes a motion across his chest. You understand? You're expected to undress. You remove your robe slowly. The floor is cold. You keep your undercloth, unsure of etiquette. A boy nearby snorts softly, then strips fully without hesitation. You follow him inside. The room is filled with gray mist. Wooden tubs line the walls. Each tub holds 2 to 3 villagers, knees tucked in arms, folded, eyes closed. No one speaks. The air is thick with heat and the smell of cedar. You step into a shallow basin first. Lukewarm water. A block of soap-like clay rests on a wooden stool. You mimic the man beside you, scrub arms, neck behind the ears. You rinse with ladles of cold water from a bucket. It shocks your skin. Then, finally, the main tub. You lower yourself in. The heat hits hard. Your legs sting. Your chest tightens, but you don't move. You sit knees drawn up, eyes fixed on the rising steam. Across from you, an old man sighs deeply. Beside him, a young boy leans against the wall, eyes closed. No one talks. You try to relax, but you notice your scent still foreign. The villagers sit slightly apart. Not enough to insult, but enough to remind you. Your body, your diet, your sweat, they don't belong. After 20 minutes, the others begin to rise. One by one, they rinse again, dry off, dress. You follow. Slowly, careful not to drip on the wrong floorboard. Outside, the evening air feels cold against your damp skin. You wrap the robe tightly. Your hair still drips. The path back is darker now. Lanterns flicker in the wind. Back at the hut, a woman hands you a folded cloth. She says something soft, almost too quiet to hear, then walks away. You sit on a wooden block and unfold it. It's a towel. Coarse but clean. You dry your feet slowly. Later at dinner, you sit a bit straighter. You eat with cleaner hands. The rice tastes the same bland earthy, but the warmth feels deeper now. One child points to your neck and says something with a grin. The adults chuckle. You realize they've noticed you didn't scrub well behind your ears. You bow your head, not in shame, but in acceptance. They're watching you. That means you're still part of this. Tomorrow, you'll scrub better. Later that night, you hear laughter from the bathhouse again. Loud echoing rising with the steam. You lie awake wrapped in the thin blanket and feel the heat still clinging to your skin. You're clean. You're tired. You're learning. The morning meal is quiet. You sit on a flat wooden board outside the storehouse, a shallow bowl of rice in your lap. Beside you, a girl chews slowly, her eyes fixed on the horizon. A pot of barley gruel bubbles behind her. The scent is earthy and plain. Today you've been invited to dine with a family. You're not sure if invited is the right word. More like assigned. An older man nods toward you while stirring a bundle of greens in a clay pot. His home sits near the center of the village, its roof patched with woven grass and stones to hold it down. His wife pours water into wooden cups. She doesn't look at you. Neither does the daughter who stands near the entrance, arms folded, eyes sharp. You bow to each of them. The gesture is returned politely, not warmly. You remove your sandals before stepping inside. The floor is packed, earth smoothed by decades of bare feet. A fire pit sits in the center, smoke drifting upward through a small vent in the ceiling. Pots hang from soot-blackened hooks. Shelves hold bowls, cloth bundles, and a stack of dried herbs. You sit cross-legged on a worn mat. Your knees crack. No one reacts. The daughter brings the meal. 3 bowls, one of rice, one of stewed daikon, and one of something green chopped fine. A small plate of pickled radish sits between you all. No meat. No seasoning. No chopsticks either. Just 2 carved sticks placed neatly beside your bowl. You pick them up awkwardly. The father clasps his hands and mutters a blessing. You mimic his posture. Itadakimasu. You echo it quietly. Then silence. You try to eat slowly. The rice sticks together in heavy clumps. The daikon is soft, watery, slightly bitter. The greens are chewy. Every chew takes effort. You glance up. The daughter watches you. You straighten your back and look away. You try to remember not to point your chopsticks, not to cross your legs, not to lean too close to the pot. You chew with your mouth closed. You try not to drink before everyone else does. But you sip too early. A pause. No one says anything, but the daughter lifts her eyebrows slightly. You bow your head. Lesson noted. Halfway through the meal, the father says something. His tone is low, not unkind. He gestures toward the daikon, then to you, then makes a chopping motion. He's asking if you know how to prepare it. You shake your head. He nods once, then continues eating. After the meal, you help gather the bowls. The daughter takes them without a word. You bow again before stepping outside. You're not dismissed, but you know to leave. Outside, you sit near a shallow ditch and watch as the family prepares the next meal. The daughter emerges with a basket heading for the herb patch. The mother gathers firewood. The father walks toward the well with a rope and bucket. Life moves forward. Later, you ask one of the boys how meals change with the seasons. In spring, he says they eat young shoots and roots. In summer, fresh greens and bitter gourds. In fall, rice beans and dried fruits. In winter, preserved turnips, pickled things, whatever didn't spoil. Meat is rare. Fish, if you're lucky. Eggs, maybe once a week. You ask about sweets. He laughs. Sweets are for the daimyo, not for farmers. At midday, you're handed a small cloth bundle. Inside is a rice ball wrapped in a leaf. You eat it slowly beneath a tree, savoring the simplicity. The leaf leaves a faint bitterness. The rice is sticky and dense. In the afternoon, you help gather radishes. The process is slow. Bend, pull, shake, stack. Over and over. Your back aches. The sun beats down. Your fingers turn pink from the dirt and juice. You try not to fall behind. One man shows you how to trim the tops with a small blade. You nick your thumb. He nods approvingly, not at the injury, but that you tried. At sunset, the family gathers again. You stand nearby, unsure whether to return. The father waves you over. This time, you're handed a bowl without hesitation. A scoop of barley gruel, a slice of pickled plum, a sprig of something green. You bow deeply. The daughter says nothing, but she doesn't raise her eyebrows. That's something. The morning is quiet. Mist rolls low over the fields, clinging to the grass like a thin white sheet. The villagers speak in hushed tones today. You notice offerings outside more homes, small bundles of salt, folded paper charms, sprigs of greenery tied with twine. You follow the movement toward the shrine. The building sits at the forest's edge, just beyond the rice paddies. Tall cedar trees surround it, their trunks straight and solemn. A simple torii gate marks the entrance, two vertical posts with a horizontal beam painted faded red. The wood creaks in the breeze. You bow before passing under it. No one told you to. You've seen others do it. A stone path winds through moss and fallen leaves. The air is damp, cool, and filled with the scent of old bark and incense. At the shrine's entrance, a low basin holds still water. A ladle rests atop it. A woman gestures to you. You hesitate. She takes the ladle, pours water over one hand, then the other, rinses her mouth, spits into the brush. You mimic her movements. The cold water stings your fingers. She nods once, then disappears into the shrine. Inside, the floor is raised and smooth. Tatami mats line the central hall. Paper lanterns hang from wooden beams glowing faintly. At the far end, a small altar holds offerings, rice sake, salt fruit. A wooden box sits below it, slatted across the top. A man in orange robes kneels nearby. His head is shaved, his robe tied with a sash dyed red at the edges. He chants softly, the rhythm steady and low. His hands rest in his lap. You wait. Watch. Another visitor steps forward, bows twice, claps twice, then bows again. He drops a coin into the box. He closes his eyes for a moment, then steps away. You follow. Your bow is too shallow. Your claps too loud. Your bow again longer. You don't have a coin. Instead, you place a small pebble clean round onto the edge of the box. No one stops you. The monk glances your way but says nothing. As you turn to leave, another man enters, carrying a wooden plaque. He kneels beside the monk. They exchange words too fast to understand, but their tone is serious. You catch one word, kami. Spirits. Outside, the wind picks up. The trees rustle gently. A crow calls from high above. Back in the village, you ask a boy what the spirits do. He says they live in trees, rocks, rivers, shrines. They bring health-good harvests, clear weather, or storms, illness, and crop rot if angered. You ask what angers them. He shrugs, forgetting. The rest of the day is filled with quiet chores. You sweep the path between huts. You carry water from the well. You help patch a leaky roof using straw bundles soaked in rice glue. A man shows you how to tie the reeds. You try, fail, try again. No one speaks of the shrine, but everyone moves carefully today. No shouting, no laughter. Even the dogs lie still. Later, a small ceremony begins near the temple. A group of elders form a circle. They chant softly, tapping drums carved from hollowed logs. A woman sprinkles salt around the perimeter. A man waves a fan made of feathers. You're allowed to watch. From a distance, they're purifying the village. The boy from before whispers that last week a fox was found dead near the river. Unnatural, bad omen. Spirits were disturbed. Historians still argue whether rituals like this were strictly religious or also political tools of control. But here now there's no question the people believe. Deeply. You bow as the drums fall silent. You don't understand the words, but the rhythm lingers. That night the mist returns. You sleep near the doorway, wrapped in your robe. You dream of trees watching, of whispers beneath stones, and of spirits waiting to be remembered. You hear them before you see them. The rhythmic clomp of hooves, the distant rustle of armor, the low creak of a saddle shifting beneath the weight of a man. The sound carries across the rice paddies, through the village, and into your chest. Everyone stops. A woman gripping a bundle of firewood drops it gently to the ground. A child is tugged by the arm and pulled behind a hut. Farmers straighten, bowing low before the horsemen even appear. You follow their gaze. Down the narrow road between two sloped hills, 3 men ride into view. They move slowly but with purpose. Their horses are small but lean heads, high nostrils flaring. Dust curls around their hooves with every step. At the front rides a man with a pale green sash and lacquered armor. His robe is trimmed in gold. His posture is upright. His face is unreadable beneath a straw hat. A katana rests at his side. Clean. Silent. The second rider carries a long polearm. Its blade catches the sun for a split second. The third man has no weapon visible, but a bundle of scrolls rests at his hip. Samurai. Real ones. You kneel. Too slowly. Your knees hit the ground hard. Your forehead follows. You press your palms to the dirt, unsure how long to stay down. A hoof stops inches from your shoulder. The horse exhales sharply. The rider above says nothing. For a breathless moment, the only sound is the creak of leather. Then he moves on. You raise your head. The second rider glances at you. His gaze lingers, then shifts forward again. You exhale. Once they've passed, the villagers begin to move again. Slowly. Cautiously. Like prey that survived a passing predator. A man near you mutters, "Bushi," warrior class. Another whispers, "daimyo." Perhaps this group serves a powerful local lord. Someone explains that samurai sometimes travel to inspect fields, collect reports, enforce order. Their word can override the village headman. Their blade can deliver justice on the spot. Historians still argue whether the threat of violence was used more often than actual punishment. But in this moment, the fear is real. Later, you ask a boy what would have happened if you hadn't bowed. He draws a finger across his throat. Message received. You wonder aloud why no one greeted them with cheers or song. He shakes his head. They are not guests. They are power. At midday, you overhear 2 men discussing the samurai's visit. One says it means taxes may rise. Another mutters about conscription. A third wonders if a local lord plans to build a new road or take more land. The village lives on the edge of such decisions. You're reminded again your presence is tolerated, not protected. That evening you sit by the fire with a few older women. They speak of the days when the samurai came more often. One woman remembers her brother being taken to fight in a border skirmish. Never returned. Another tells how a villager was once punished for failing to offer proper lodging. His home burned. No questions asked. You sit silently. A boy brings you a stick with roasted barley on it. You chew slowly, staring into the flame. You remember the rider's eyes. Calm, cold, measured. Tomorrow you promise yourself you'll bow sooner, lower, longer, just in case they return. You spend the next morning practicing your bow. Near the water trough behind the storehouse, you rehearse the motions again and again. Feet together, hands at your sides, eyes down. Bend slowly from the waist. Hold. Rise. Too fast. Try again. A girl walks past carrying a bundle of herbs. She stops, watches you, says nothing. You keep bowing. By the 5th time, your back begins to ache. By the 8th, your thighs tremble. You pause to breathe. The girl shrugs and walks away. Later, you join a group of boys seated under a tree. One teaches the others how to kneel properly, Caesar it's called. Legs folded beneath back straight shoulders, relaxed. You attempt it. Your feet fall asleep within minutes. One boy laughs. He taps your shoulder, makes a flat sound with his tongue, then shakes his head. You try again. Pain radiates from your ankles. Your knees protest. Still you sit. Still you try. A small boy joins no older than 6. He kneels perfectly, hands folded, eyes forward. You glance at him. He stares straight ahead. A lesson in silence. After lunch, you're asked to help deliver a message. An older man hands you a wooden tablet with characters burned into the surface. He speaks slowly, pointing toward the next village down a wooded path past the shrine. You bow. Accept it with both hands. You remember to say arigato. The path is narrow and uneven. You step carefully, ducking beneath low branches. The forest hums with insects. A stream runs parallel to the path for a while, then disappears behind a bend. You pass 2 women carrying baskets. You bow. They bow back. You pass an old man with a walking stick. You bow. He nods once, then continues on. By the time you reach the second village, your robe is damp with sweat. You find the meeting house easily larger than yours, with a bell tied beneath the eaves. You kneel before entering. You bow twice. A man steps forward. You hold out the tablet. He takes it with both hands, reads silently, then nods. You bow again. You step back. He says something slowly. Then again. You recognize one word, domo. A casual thanks. You nod. Then he says another word, nani. You blink. He tries again. Nani, then points to you. What? What are you doing here? You fumble for a response. Say Hitori alone. It's the best you can do. He frowns, then shrugs. Calls for someone else. You leave before you're questioned more. The walk back is silent. At one point, you stop and sit beside the stream. You let the water run over your hands. You practice saying konbanwa, good evening. Then, gomen nasai, I'm sorry. You practice them until the words lose shape. Back in the village, the sun is low. The man who gave you the tablet waves you over. You kneel. Hand him the small scroll the other village sent in return. He reads it, nods, then pats your shoulder. He doesn't say anything else, but he doesn't need to. You bowed correctly. You spoke when needed. You listened. At dinner, a boy asks you to pass the radish. He says, kudasai, please. You repeat the word, hand it to him. He doesn't laugh. Later, as you wash your bowl beside the well, you hear the sound of distant drums. Not music warning, the samurai again. Or something else. A woman nearby mutters, kaji. Fire. Somewhere beyond the ridge. No one panics. But they move faster now. The evening ends quietly. You lie awake, feet sore, back stiff, knees swollen. But your bows are better. Your posture has improved. And you finally know what to say when someone asks, "Who are you?" A guest who is trying to learn. You wake to the sound of scratching. A mouse, maybe, or a bird rustling thatch. You stretch your legs carefully. The stiffness from yesterday's kneeling still lingers in your joints. Outside, morning fog clings to the rooftops like cotton. You rise slowly and step out into the cool air. Today, someone hands you clothes. Not new, not clean, but different. A woven robe with tight stitching around the collar and a heavier sash. Coarse hemp again, but thicker layered. The color is a faded brownish gray. A man points to the sleeves, then makes a wide circular gesture, wind. It's seasonal wear. Fall is ending. The weather is shifting. You feel it in your bones. He hands you a straw hat next. Woven, round, stiff. You tie it beneath your chin. The rope itches. The fit is tight. He nods once. Another woman hands you leggings, narrow strips of cloth to bind from ankle to knee. She gestures how to wrap them. You fumble with the cloth. It slips. She reties one of your legs with quick practiced motions, then gestures for you to finish the other. You do. Unevenly. You're warmer now, but not comfortable. The robe chafes beneath your arms. The leggings squeeze. The sandals, thinner, now offer little protection from the chill seeping into the ground. Soon you're sent to gather kindling. You step into the forest, just beyond the shrine, a woven basket on your back. The trees have turned. Red, orange, yellow. The colors are soft, dusty, not vibrant. Fallen leaves blanket the trail crackling underfoot. You collect dry branches, snapping each one to check for moisture. A boy follows behind, carrying a bundle of thin pine needles used for starting the fire. He doesn't speak, but he works efficiently. Your hands grow cold quickly. You blow into them, trying to restore circulation. The sleeves do little to help. The boy offers you a thin strip of cloth. You tie it around your wrist like he does. Better. Back in the village, the wind picks up. You huddle near the fire pit as an old woman roasts thin slices of taro root. She offers you one. It's hot, soft inside, and bland. You chew slowly, grateful for the warmth more than the taste. A girl sneezes. Her mother pulls her robe tighter and mutters, "Samui, cold." You repeat the word. Samui. She glances your way. Nods. Later, you help repair the edge of a roof. The reeds are brittle dry from summer, no longer insulating. A man shows you how to weave new bundles. You climb a ladder. You place each bundle carefully. You tie the reeds with a damp strip of vine, hoping the weight holds. You slip once. The ladder shifts. Your foot jams between the rungs. A hand grabs your belt and steadies you. No words, just a grunt. Then the work continues. That night, a few families gather in the longhouse. A brazier burns in the center. The room fills with smoke that curls around the beams before slipping out through vents in the ceiling. A group sits around the warmth. You're invited to join. They sip hot broth from lacquered bowls. You're handed one. The liquid is thin, but the steam feels good on your face. They talk about the wind. Someone says the first frost came early last year. Another mentions rats nesting near the grain. One man speaks of snow as early as the 9th moon. You don't follow every word, but the tone is clear concern. Someone points to your robe and chuckles. Atsui too thick. You smile. Another man lifts his sleeve to show a patch. He mimics, scratching his arm, then groans. The group laughs. The hemp cloth irritates his skin, too. You scratch your own arm for effect. More laughter. Connection. After the gathering, you help bank the fire, raking coals, piling ash to keep the heat. A woman shows you how to place a clay pot of hot stones near the bedding mat. You copy her exactly. You sleep warmer that night. Still itchy. Still stiff. But warmer. The sun rises behind a low layer of mist. Today is market day. You hear the shift in energy before you see it, doors sliding open. Carts creaking, fabric being shaken loose and tied to poles. Voices rise earlier than usual. There is movement in the village square. A boy hurries past carrying a bundle of dried mushrooms. A woman follows balancing a tray of small, tightly bound parcels. You're told to come along. You follow a narrow road toward the castle town 2 miles away, walking beside a man pulling a handcart. The cart is filled with bundles, turnips, leeks, gourds, and bundles of straw. You carry a small basket filled with dried beans and nuts. You hold it tightly, uncertain of your role. The road is busy. Other farmers merge into the path. Some lead oxen. Some carry fish tied on strings. Most keep to themselves, eyes forward, mouths closed. A cluster of men in rough clothing nod as you pass. Eventually the trees thin. The land opens. You see walls in the distance, pale stone and timber gates, layered rooftops rising behind them. The castle town. You cross a narrow bridge and step through a low gate. Guards stand nearby with short swords, spears crossed at the entrance. They don't stop you, but they watch. Inside, the road widens, stone underfoot. More people, merchants, monks, children, travelers. The market fills a central square between tall buildings with wooden signs and wide eaves. Stalls line the path, their owners shouting prices. You stand still, overwhelmed. Colors, smells, voices. Fish, soy-roasted chestnuts, old fabric, fresh firewood, pickled vegetables in clay jars. A woman stirs a large pot of broth over coals. A boy carries trays stacked with small rice cakes. A merchant sells knives, the blades displayed on black velvet. You follow your group to a cleared space and begin unpacking. The man beside you spreads straw mats and arranges the produce in neat rows. He places the beans in shallow baskets, the nuts in smaller ones. He places a rock in the middle to keep them from tipping. You kneel beside him. He says nothing, but he nods once when you're finished. Customers approach slowly. They inspect with narrow eyes. One lifts a turnip, presses his thumb into the skin, then sets it down. Another weighs a gourd in his hand, then offers 3 coins. The man you came with accepts, bows, hands him a small leaf-wrapped token change. You watch, learn. A boy runs past, bumping your basket slightly. You reach to steady it. A woman grabs the boy's arm and scolds him sharply. He bows to you low and deep. You nod in return. A customer points at your basket. He says something. You don't understand. The man beside you speaks quickly, then gestures for you to hold up the beans. You do. The man examines them, nods, pays. Your first sale. Later you walk the square. You pass a stall of dyed cloths. A woman calls to you and holds up a bolt of rough cotton. She points to your sleeve. You shake your head. She clicks her tongue and turns away. You try again at another booth, this one selling fish cakes. You say, "Ikura desu ka," how much? The man responds. Too fast. You blink. He repeats slower. You understand one word, "Nimon," 2 coins. You bow. Hold out the coins. He hands you a fish cake wrapped in paper. You eat it slowly. It's oily, salty, warm. You savor every bite. In the distance, a procession passes. Drummers, a man in formal robes, a monk scattering flower petals. A small group bows deeply as they pass. You follow their gaze. A palanquin, carried by 4 men. Curtains drawn. Someone important. The crowd parts. Everyone bows. You bow too. Later, back at your mat, the produce is mostly gone. The baskets are lighter. The man tallies the coins. He hands you a single coin. You stare. Your first earning. You bow deeply. He nods. His expression softens barely. The road home feels shorter. You walk in silence, listening to the squeak of the cartwheels. The sky darkens slowly, the color of ash and smoke. Back in the village, the market talk fades into the sounds of cooking fires and quiet chewing. You place the coin beside your mat before sleeping. Proof that you were there, that you did something right, even if just for one day. You hear shouting. It's not playful or rhythmic like the market vendors. It's sharp, harsh, and close. You step outside into the narrow path between huts and see a gathering. At its center, a man stands tied to a thick post, his arms pulled behind him, wrists bound tightly with rope. His robe is torn. His head hangs low. Villagers encircle him silently. No one speaks. No one steps forward. You edge closer, careful to stay behind the others. A woman beside you mutters, "Nusumi." The word sinks in. Thief. You look again. The man's sandals are worn through. His fingers twitch. He's no stranger. You've seen him before near the granary, carrying kindling, stacking straw. He rarely spoke. A loud crack snaps through the silence. A boy throws a dried gourd. It hits the man in the shoulder and bursts. Fragments scatter. Another boy follows, hurling a half-rotten turnip. Then another. The crowd joins slowly. This is punishment. You stay still. The village headman steps forward. His robe is clean. He carries a scroll. He speaks slowly, clearly. You recognize a few words: rice, dishonor, law. Then he nods. 2 men untie the thief and drag him toward the edge of the village. One shouts, "Ikanai de, don't return." The man stumbles, but they keep pushing. He doesn't resist. Someone behind you whispers, "Mura hachibu." You don't know the term. Later, someone explains, village ostracism. Total social exclusion. No food, no water, no shelter. The person becomes invisible. A punishment older than swords. Historians still argue whether such ostracism was formal policy or communal instinct, but here it is both. That night, you eat quietly. No one mentions the thief. No one talks about the missing rice. but everyone locks their storerooms. Every bowl is passed with care. Every glance is shorter than usual. Later you see a woman by the well tying new charms to the post. Protection. The thief may be gone, but the shame lingers. You think about mistakes, about how easy it would be to step the wrong way, say the wrong thing, take a little too much. Here justice isn't loud. It's quiet, cold, final. In your sleep you dream of ropes tightening, of eyes watching, and of silence that follows long after the shouting ends. The rain begins before dawn. You hear it first in your sleep, soft tapping on the roof that deepens into a slow, steady rhythm. When you step outside, the ground is already soaked. Puddles form along the footpaths. The air smells of wet straw mud and something sour. The clouds are low, gray, heavy. A fine mist clings to everything. No one rushes. The villagers move slowly, shoulders hunched, sandals dragging. You follow suit. A woman waves you toward a shed. She hands you a wide-brimmed hat woven from reeds. The hat leaks slightly. Today's work doesn't stop. You're assigned to clean the drainage trenches that line the rice fields. You step carefully through ankle-deep water thick with sediment and tiny leeches that cling to your toes. You use a wooden scoop to remove debris, twigs, leaves, clumps of earth. The scoop is heavy when full. You tip the water into the shallows and repeat. The mud grips your ankles. You almost lose a sandal twice. Rain trickles down your back under your robe. The cloth grows heavy. Your fingers wrinkle. The hat sags. By midday, your hands are stained. Your arms ache. You pause for water, but the rainwater pooling in the trough is already muddy. Someone hands you a small gourd. You drink. The water is lukewarm and tastes faintly of earth. After the trenches, you're sent to reinforce a wall. The embankment behind a row of homes has softened. It needs buttressing with logs and straw mats. You push reeds into place, then wedge a log across the soft soil. Your knees slide in the muck. The mat beneath you soaks through. A boy beside you sneezes. No one reacts. Later you're told to help dig a shallow channel around the temple. A monk stands nearby, his robe soaked but undisturbed. He murmurs a chant beneath his breath as you dig. The mud here is darker, thicker. Worms twist through it. Your hands slip on the handle of the shovel. You lose grip twice. The monk offers a strip of cloth. You wrap it around the handle. That night, the rain intensifies. Water runs through the paths. One of the huts takes on water. A group forms a bucket line. You join in, pass, pour, return, pass, pour, return. It goes on for hours. No one complains. No one stops. Just movement, rhythm, survival. Eventually the water recedes. At dinner, you sit near the fire legs covered in dried mud. Your robe clings to you wet and cold. Someone hands you a bowl of hot gruel. You hold it close, fingers red from exposure. You eat slowly, silently. A child beside you drops a spoon. No one reacts. Rain is routine. After the meal, you're shown how to sleep elevated on mats, layered with straw and cloth raised off the floor. A precaution against water and insects. You lie down carefully. Your bones ache. Your spine feels like twisted rope. Your skin itches. Outside, the rain continues. It will continue tomorrow, and the day after. There is no plumbing here, no shelter from nature. Only reeds, earth, sweat, and effort. You fall asleep listening to the roof drip, the fire crackle, and the wind begin to rise. The rain stops. Not suddenly, not loudly, just a slow tapering of drops against the thatch until even the frogs go silent. By morning, the air is still, damp. The clouds hang low but unbroken. Puddles remain in the walkways. Your sandals squish with each step. You're given a task today unlike the others. The village steward calls you over. He gestures to a man beside him, older with a limp and a distant gaze. The man carries a wooden staff and a cloth-wrapped sword. You recognize the shape immediately. A balkan, a wooden practice sword. They want to teach you something. You bow. The older man does not return it. He merely turns and walks toward the far field. You follow without question. The training space is just a patch of flat earth behind the storage shed. Mud still pools near the edges. A straw dummy leans against a post. The man points at it, then to your feet, then holds up the balkan. You accept it with both hands. It's heavier than you expect. Rough-grained, no decoration. He shows you how to stand. Feet shoulder width. Knees slightly bent. Hands firm on the hilt. Blade angled down. He says the word once kamai. Stance. You repeat it. He moves without flourish. Slow, precise arcs through the air. He shows a basic cut downward. Then another diagonal. Then a thrust. You try to follow. Your swings are off balance. Your elbows lock. Your grip slides. The sword wobbles. The man stops you. He points to your shoulders. Relaxes his. You mimic the motion. He watches again. Says nothing. You swing again. Better. Then he steps back, raises his own balkan, points to your chest, then moves forward. You barely block the first strike. The force jars your arms. The wooden blades clack together sharply. You stumble back. He steps again. Another strike angled low. You lift the balkan too late. It strikes your leg. Hard. You grunt. He doesn't stop. He circles. You swing wide. Miss. He taps your ribs. Again and again. It's not elegant. It's not beautiful. It hurts. But you stay standing. After 10 minutes, he lowers his sword. You're panting. Your hands tremble. Mud clings to your knees. He nods once, then walks away. You sit in the dirt, heart racing. The balkan lies beside you. Its surface is chipped, the end stained with mud. Later, you return it to the steward. He takes it silently. But the younger boys nearby look at you differently. One taps your shoulder and says, "Yoi." Good. You say nothing. You just nod. The next day, you return to the field alone. The balkan waits for you leaning against the fence. You bow before picking it up. And begin again. Swing, step, breathe. The frost comes overnight. You wake to silence deeper than usual. No birds, no roosters. Even the wind is still. You step outside and find the earth glazed in white. Thin sheets of frost coat the roofs, the grass, the stones. Your breath forms clouds. Your fingers sting before you even reach the well. The villagers move slower now. Robes are layered thicker. Shawls are draped over heads and shoulders. Fires are lit earlier. Smoke hangs heavy in the morning air, curling above every roof. You're handed a bundle of firewood and told to carry it to the temple. The path is hard. Now, dirt-frozen solid stones, slick with ice. You walk carefully, arms tight, head down. Inside the temple, it's warmer. Barely. The monk acknowledges you with a nod. You place the firewood near the hearth and help stack kindling. He shows you how to light the fire with flint and steel. Your hands fumble. The first few sparks die in the ash. He corrects your grip. After several tries, the flame catches. You blow gently until it grows. The heat is faint but real. Later, you help insulate the storehouse. Mats of straw are layered against the walls. Gaps between planks are filled with wads of cloth. A man applies a thin layer of mud over the seams with his hands. You copy him. The mud is cold, but your fingers adjust quickly. Inside the storehouse, barrels are arranged carefully. Rice, pickled greens, dried fish salt. A woman takes inventory aloud. You hear numbers: Ju, Niju, Yonju, 10, 20, 40. Food is counted, measured, guarded. The margins of survival grow thinner now. That night your mat is placed beside a brazier. Hot stones are wrapped in cloth and laid near your feet. A woman tucks a straw mat over your shoulders. She says samui and smiles faintly. You nod. Yes. Cold. You try to sleep, but the fire fades too quickly. Your toes remain numb. The straw itches. The wind whistles through a crack in the wall. You dream of wool blankets, central heating, glowing thermostats, and wake to ash and bone-deep chill. At breakfast, bowls of warm broth are passed quietly. A child sniffles. A man coughs. No one wastes energy on chatter. You help carry water again. The bucket's wooden sides are iced. You must break the surface of the well with a stick before the water flows. You lift the bucket with stiff arms, muscles aching. By midday, the sky turns gray again. Snow falls lightly at first, then faster. The village becomes quiet, even softer than usual. Sounds are muffled. Movement slows further. Children chase flakes but quickly retreat to warmth. You are handed a reed broom and sent to clear the path between the huts. You sweep slowly, careful not to slip. The snow is dry, powdery, but beneath it the mud remains. At sunset, lanterns glow behind rice paper windows. The light feels closer now, more precious. The smell of hot broth, faint miso and smoke drifts through the walkways. You sit near the fire with 3 others. No one speaks. The crackle of burning wood fills the space. You hold your bowl close. The warmth seeps into your chest. Later, you share a room with 6 others. Everyone sleeps curled tightly. Breath clouds the air. You close your eyes, pull the mat tighter, and hope the fire doesn't die before morning. You're told to wash your face. The instruction comes from an old woman with a smirk and a nod toward the well. You obey. The water is icy, biting at your cheeks and ears. You dry your face with a stiff cloth and return to the clearing where a small group has gathered. Something is different today. You're offered a clean robe. It smells of smoke and cedar. The cloth is stiff, the sleeves wide. The sash is thicker than usual. You are told to kneel. They groom your hair, pull it back, tie it with cord, smooth the edges with damp hands. You're not alone. 2 other young men stand nearby, similarly prepared. One is tall and wiry, the other shorter, round-faced, nervous. A woman approaches. She carries a tray. 3 bundles rest upon it. Folded kerchiefs, small wrapped parcels, and a single candle each. This is an introduction. You're being matched. The villagers have decided that you and the others should be presented to eligible women, not for marriage, not yet, but for future suitability. You bow. The women approach in pairs. They keep their hands folded. Their robes are modest heads, bowed slightly. You are not to speak first. You are not to speak much at all. The first pair stops in front of you. The older one, perhaps the mother, examines your robe. The younger looks at your hands. One tilts her head. The other says, "Shizen natural," or perhaps unrefined. They bow. Move on. The next pair steps forward. The daughter is taller than you. Her eyebrows are thick, her eyes sharp. She watches you for a long time, says nothing, then walks away. The third pair stops longer. The mother asks a question directly. You don't understand the words. She repeats them, points to your shoulders, your arms. She wants to know if you can work, truly work. You nod. You say hi. She says something else. You catch Takusan a lot. The daughter laughs. Her smile is brief, unsure. They leave. The ceremony ends quietly. The boys are dismissed first. You are pulled aside. A man, someone you've worked with before, tells you one of the women might consider you. A widow. Her husband died in last year's flood. No children. You nod. The next day you are sent to her field. She waits, arms folded. Her robe is plain. Her hair tied tightly. Her hands are calloused. She doesn't speak, just gestures to the basket beside her. You carry it. Together you walk through rows of early turnips. She digs. You follow. You load the basket. She watches how you walk, how you handle the weight, how you breathe. She doesn't smile. At lunch, she offers half a rice cake. You accept it. Bow slightly. Eat it slowly. Afterward, she asks one word, na. You pause. She points to her chest, says Naoko, then points to you. You give your name. She says it once, then nods. The rest of the day passes in silence. That evening, the village headman says nothing about the visit, but he hands you a folded piece of cloth, clean unpatched. A gesture. Nothing is promised. Nothing decided. But something has begun. You lie awake that night, not from cold, but from the strange warmth of being noticed. The monk arrives just after sunrise. He wears orange robes, a darker sash, and carries a staff with rings that rattle softly as he walks. He does not speak to anyone at first. He walks the edge of the village with measured steps, stopping at certain corners, pausing to gaze into doorways. His eyes are sharp. His voice, when he speaks, is low and slow. People gather near the temple. You are among them. The monk stands before the crowd and begins to speak. You catch fragments. Kagare impurity. Kami spirits. Yogoreta unclean. Hen na mano strange things. Your name is not spoken, but heads begin turning. Toward you. You feel it before it is said. He is speaking about you. The monk steps closer. He asks a question. Direct. Low. Eyes fixed on yours. You don't understand. He repeats it slower, more pointedly. Then gestures. At your robe. At your shoes. At your coin from the market. Then at your satchel where you keep scraps of cloth and a sliver of mirror. He says Mahu. Magic. You shake your head. He asks again, this time louder. The villagers murmur. The steward steps forward, says something cautious, short. The monk responds sharply. His tone is edged. You raise your hands, palms out. You kneel. You bow deeply. You say the words, you know, sumimasen, wakarimasen. I'm sorry. I don't understand. The monk circles you. He reaches into your satchel. He removes the mirror fragment, holds it up. He says Kagami, then Kage, then Utsusu, mirror, shadow, reflect. He tosses it aside. He pulls out the folded scrap of cloth with Roman letters printed faintly on one side. His brows furrow. He speaks again, slower, deliberate. You catch one word, Joshin, false god. The villagers grow quiet. Someone whispers, Sukai, sorcerer. Historians still argue how often fear of the unfamiliar led to accusations of spiritual danger. But here now, there is no debate. You kneel. You do not speak. The monk speaks once more, then turns. The village headman bows to him deeply. Later, the steward brings you to the temple. He does not touch you. He does not speak until you are inside. There, the monk waits. He gestures for you to sit. He lights incense. He chants. Slowly. Then places a folded strip of white paper on your shoulder. You do not move. Then he asks again, Nani monoda, what are you? You point to your chest. You say, Ningen human. He studies you, then nods once. He speaks to the steward. The steward nods, leaves. The monk finishes his chant. You are given water to drink. It is bitter but warm. A purification. You bow. You stay low. When you finally step outside, no one speaks to you, but they no longer look at you with suspicion. Only distance. Later, a boy brings your belongings. The mirror is gone. The cloth is gone. The bakken remains. That night you sleep beside the fire. You dream of words you don't understand, and eyes that see through silence. The day begins with laughter. You hear drums, flutes, wooden blocks tapping together in rhythm. Children race past your doorway in borrowed robes. One wears a mask shaped like a fox. Another carries a fan with painted blossoms. It's a festival. The village square transforms. Bright cloths hang from poles. Paper lanterns sway in the breeze. Stalls appear offering rice dumplings wrapped in leaves, miso soup in shallow wooden bowls, grilled fish on sticks. Everyone is dressed better today. You're handed a robe. It smells of camphor. The fabric is softer than what you're used to. The sash is bright green. The boy who gives it to you gestures toward your hut. You dress, carefully. When you step outside, even the elders glance your way. not coldly, not warmly, just watching. A woman paints your forehead with a small streak of red. A child offers you a folded fan. You bow. They giggle and run away. In the square, a group forms a circle. Men chant clapping in rhythm. Two boys in lion costumes crouch, leap, spin. The crowd claps. Someone hands you a rice ball sticky with sweetened bean paste. You take it slowly. Eat it carefully. You wander from stall to stall. At one you try roasted chestnuts. At another, pickled plums. The sour bite puckers your mouth. A child laughs at your face. Near the temple, a game is set up: archery with short bows. A straw target at 20 paces. A boy hands you a bow. You try. Miss completely. The crowd laughs, but not cruelly. You bow. Hand back the bow. Clap once. Later, a slow procession begins. Monks lead carrying lanterns and drums. Behind them, children carry offerings, fruit rice bundles of herbs. Then the elders. Then everyone else. You fall into step near the rear. The line moves slowly toward the shrine. There, each person bows. Claps twice, bows again. You do the same. Someone hands you a cup of sake. You hesitate, then sip. The warmth spreads through your chest. You haven't tasted anything like it in days, sweet, sharp, deep. Another cup is passed, then another. You lose count. You forget to bow before drinking. An elder catches your eye, raises his brow. You bow quickly, too low. He nods barely. By late afternoon, the festival slows. Children nap against their mothers. Men sit near the fire, silent. The scent of ash and soy hangs in the air. You sit near a tree, leaning back, robe loosened. Your head feels light. Your fingers tingle. A girl passes and places a sprig of flowers beside you. She says nothing, just smiles, then walks away. You hold the flowers loosely. Your hands are calloused now, your legs scarred from brush and stone. Your feet know the shape of every path. You close your eyes, breathe in the smoke. You've survived labor. Silence. Cold. Suspicion. Pain. Today, even joy feels exhausting. You rest. Tomorrow the work resumes. But tonight you sleep beside the fire, drunk, warm, and quiet. You wake to bird song. For the first time in many days, there's no immediate task, no urgent bell, no one calling your name or pointing toward the fields. The sky is pale but clear. The chill is still there, biting at your toes beneath the reed mat, but you feel rested. You stand slowly. Your back aches from the straw bedding. Your knees still hold the stiffness of weeks of kneeling, bowing, crouching, walking. But your movements are slower now, deliberate. Your feet land where they need to. You've learned to watch the ground, to step lightly. Outside, smoke curls from chimneys. Someone splits wood. Another sweeps the path clear of leaves. The festival is over. The lanterns have been taken down, but faint remnants remain, bits of colored string caught in the fence, footprints in the frost near the shrine, a forgotten fan beneath a bench. You walk the village slowly. Children pass you. They nod. One even waves. You bow to an elder. He bows back slightly deeper than before. Near the well, the steward stands. He's speaking to another man. He pauses, glances your way, then nods once. You nod in return. Your path winds to the edge of the forest. The air is sharp and clean. A breeze rattles the dry leaves overhead. The rice paddies lie still now, empty, waiting for spring. Ducks move slowly across shallow water, leaving small ripples behind. You climb a small rise beside the fields. From here, you can see the whole village. The huts, the temple, the narrow paths, the bathhouse, the granary. You see the place where the thief was tied, the corner where the samurai paused, the patch where you dropped your first basket of straw. You remember. The burns on your hands from the shovel, the bite of rain-soaked sandals, the whisper of spirits in the shrine's silence. The cold, the sweat, the silence, the eyes, the weight of the bakken in your palm. The way the old woman placed her shawl around your shoulders before sleep. You remember each detail. And then you open your eyes. You are back in your bed. The ceiling above you is smooth, white. Electric light filters softly through the blinds. The hum of traffic outside replaces the wind. A distant siren, a bark of a dog, the ticking of the thermostat. Your sheets are clean, your mattress forgiving. The air is warm. You reach out, touch the wall, smooth, dry. You sit up slowly. Your legs are sore, but not with mud. Your robe is gone, your bakken gone, your straw mat, the fire smoke, the cold well water gone. You are home. The clock reads 6:42 a.m. A new day begins, but this one with plumbing, and heat, and pillows. You settle back now. Let your muscles soften. Let your breath deepen. Let the images of rice fields and damp sandals fade into distant mist. The drums have gone silent. The fires have cooled. The sky above the village lies still and open, untouched by planes or wires. Beneath your fingertips there is no straw, no ash, just fabric, familiar and clean. You're far from the thatched rooftops and sloping fields, far from the flicker of lanterns, the hush of bowed heads, the weight of unfamiliar words. The village has vanished. The mountains, the temple, the sounds of clapping hands and rattling armor, they dissolve like fog at sunrise. Now there is only breath, only rest. The aches in your hands, memory, the silence between tasks. Peaceful now, not tense. The fire, it's in your chest. Steady, calm. You've walked through a season of labor, of suspicion, of cold and quiet determination. You've bowed until your knees failed. You've spoken words you barely understood. You've endured mud, sweat, snow, and slow acceptance. And you came through. You survived the pace, the posture, the patience of a time that asked everything and gave little. And now it's over. So let your mind step back. Let your breath carry you gently from village square to quiet stream. Let your limbs grow heavier with each exhale. Let the cool wind of the past slip away as you settle into warmth. No more sandals, no more smoke, just stillness. You're here, and you made it. Sleep now, sleep.